The Colts were down by 3 with less than 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter when my daughter-in-law ripped the remote out of my hand. "Go back to your room, old man," she said without even looking at me. "This is our living room now." For a second I honestly thought I'd heard her wrong. The game vanished from the screen. Some home renovation show popped up instead. A smiling couple was arguing about bathroom tile. I just sat there. The remote was still warm from my hand. What stung most wasn't the words themselves. It was knowing my son had caught every syllable. Cody was standing in the kitchen, maybe 15 feet away, pouring himself a cup of coffee. He lifted his head. Eyes landed right on me, then dropped back down. Nothing. Not a single word from him. The walls seemed to inch closer around me. I eased myself up out of the recliner. My knees sounded like a bag of bubble wrap. Arthritis had owned that fight for years. Amber settled onto the couch and tucked a blanket around her legs. Casual as you please. As if she hadn't just pushed me out of the room, I'd carried a mortgage on for 35 years. I looked over at Cody one last time. He kept his eyes down, so I turned and made my way down the hall. No one moved to stop me. No one said sorry. No one so much as flinched at what had just happened, and that silence cut deeper than anything she'd actually said. I stepped into my bedroom and eased the door shut. Not hard, just enough. Welcome back to True Revenge Stories. I'm glad you found your way here today. If this is your first time listening, consider tapping subscribe so the next story lands right where you can find it. Before we get into things, I'd love to hear from you. In the comments, what is it you're hoping to carry with you after today? Peace, perspective, or maybe just the reminder that you're not alone. One more thing before we begin. Some details in this story have been shaped for the telling, and any resemblance to specific real people or events is purely coincidental. What matters most is the truth at the heart of it. I settled onto the edge of the mattress. The quiet wrapped around me first. Through the wall, the television was still going, voices talking about countertops and paint colors drifting down the hall. I rubbed my palms together. They had a tremor to them, not from rage, from something heavier than that: disappointment. At 67, you pick up a strange lesson about what aging actually means. The body breaking down isn't always the worst of it. Sure, my back greeted every morning with a protest. My knees sounded like a bag of bubble wrap. My pill bottles outnumbered anything at a corner drugstore. But none of that was what stole sleep from me. Loneliness did that. The feeling of becoming invisible. The slow, grinding sense that you were being edged out of your own existence. I fixed my eyes on the dresser against the far wall. A framed photo sat up there. My wife, Lorraine. Gone 4 years now. Cancer. Fast and merciless. The sort that takes someone before you've had any chance to prepare your goodbye. I reached for the picture. "Well," I said barely above a whisper, "things have managed to get worse." Lorraine was smiling in it. Taken on a trip to Brown County back in 2013, we'd rented a little cabin up in the hills. She spent 3 solid days giving me grief about my inability to get a charcoal grill going. A smile found me before I could stop it. Then it was gone. Because Lorraine would never have let what just happened slide. Not because she was someone who raised her voice. She wasn't. She had a gift for making people straighten up without saying a harsh word. One look from her and Cody would have spoken up on the spot. One look and Amber would have handed that remote straight back. But this house was different now. Not the walls or the furniture. Something underneath. I'd somehow been downgraded to guest status. And guests aren't meant to lodge complaints. I set the photo back where it belonged. Then I pulled open the nightstand drawer. Old papers inside, insurance forms, tax documents, a handful of cards Lorraine had given me across the years. One was from our 35th anniversary. I drew it out. Her handwriting covered the inside. At the bottom she'd put down, "Don't let anyone make you smaller than you are." I sat with that line for a long stretch of time. 20 minutes, maybe. Could have been more. Eventually, footsteps moved along the hallway. Cody. A soft knock. "Dad!" I let a beat pass before answering. "Dad, can I come in?" "Sure." The door opened. He stood there looking uncomfortable, like a teenager who already knows he blew it. "About earlier." I waited. He rubbed the back of his neck. "Amber's stressed." And there it was. Not an apology. A reason. Those two things are not the same. I gave a slow nod. "Okay. She's worried about money." "Okay. We've been arguing a lot lately." I looked at him. "Did you come in here to explain why she said it?" His jaw tightened. No? Then what are you here for? He had nothing. Because we both understood what was going on. He wasn't here to stand up for me. He was here to keep things smooth. And right then, something settled into focus for me. Keeping the peace and dodging conflict are not always the same animal. Sometimes keeping the peace means throwing the person least likely to fight back under the bus. That person was me. Cody let out a long breath. I just don't want everyone upset, I laughed. Not because it was funny, because that sentence was so familiar it almost felt worn out. He'd been saying some version of it his whole life. At 10, at 20, when he got married, and now standing in my doorway. I understand, I said. The relief on his face was immediate, like he'd just cleared some difficult hurdle. Good. And then he was gone. I listened to his footsteps fade down the hall. A few minutes on laughter filtered in from the living room. Amber, Cody, the television, the evening carrying forward, without me. Around 10 o'clock that night, I put together a sandwich. Ham on rye bread, nothing fancy. The kitchen stood empty. Everyone had already headed upstairs. I ate standing at the window above the sink, staring out into the backyard. Everything out there looked the same as it had for years. The old maple, the deck I'd built with my own hands, the fence Cody and I put up together when he was 16. The house hadn't shifted. The people inside it had. Or maybe I'd simply run out of patience for pretending otherwise. I was up before sunrise the next morning. Old habits die hard. I brewed coffee, took my seat at the kitchen table, and watched the sky brighten over Indianapolis. At 8:12 a.m., I picked up my phone. The number had been sitting on a sticky note for nearly 2 weeks. I'd written it down after talking with an old friend. At the time, I hadn't been certain why. Now I was. A cheerful woman picked up. Who's your hall movers? How can I help you today? I looked around that kitchen, the kitchen Lorraine and I had torn apart and rebuilt together, the house that held decades of our life, and I said something that even caught me off guard. I need to schedule a move. She asked for a date. I looked at the calendar on the refrigerator. The date felt like it carried real weight. Tomorrow morning, I said. That soon? Yes. A pause on her end. Then we can do that. After the call ended, I sat without moving for a moment. My heart was going. Part fear, part guilt, and part something I hadn't felt in a very long time, the sense that I was actually acting. Not shouting, not threatening, not stewing in the corner, just deciding. Upstairs, Amber's footsteps crossed the floor. A cabinet banged shut. Business as usual, but not for much longer. Because what they assumed was happening and what was actually happening were two entirely different things. And by the time they walked back through the door the next evening, the ground inside that house would have shifted under their feet. The truth is, I should have recognized the pattern well before that football game. Looking back, the remote wasn't where any of this started. It was simply the moment I stopped handing myself excuses. 8 months before that night, Cody had called me on a Tuesday. I remember it because I was out back grilling burgers. The weather was running unseasonably warm for early spring in Indiana. My phone lit up with his name, and I smiled, picking it up. Back in those days, a call from him was still something I looked forward to. Dad. Hey, kid. His voice carried tension. Can we talk about something? That opening never leads anywhere good. A few minutes later, he laid us out. Overtime at the warehouse had dried up. Money was getting tight. Their lease was running out. They needed somewhere to land. Just temporary. A few months. 3 at the most. Maybe 4. I didn't need to hear the rest. Of course. Really? You're my son. I still remember the relief that came through the line, and I remember feeling genuinely good about it. The truth was that after Lorraine passed, the house had turned too quiet. Some nights I'd switch on the television, not because anything interested me, but because silence gets its own kind of weight when you're the only one in the rooms. So when Cody and Amber moved in, the place came back to life. The guest room had someone in it. There was noise from the kitchen, shoes piling up near the front door, coffee smell in the mornings. For a while, I was glad to have them there. I really was. The first month went fine. The second wasn't much different. Then the small things started. And small things have a way of sneaking up on you. You barely register them at first. One Saturday, I came back from the hardware store to find my recliner shoved into a corner. It had lived near the front window for close to 15 years. That was its spot. I brought it up. Oh, Amber said, the room flows better this way. I stood there holding a bag of mulch, looking at the chair sitting wrong in its new corner. I let it go, not worth the friction. A few weeks after that, my tools vanished from their usual spot on the garage shelf. Not taken relocated. Everything reshuffled without a word to me. When I went hunting for my socket set, Amber smiled. I made the garage more functional. More functional for who I'd impress it. I already had my answer. Then came the boxes. Lorraine's Christmas decorations, old family albums, a collection of ceramic birds she'd spent 20 years building piece by piece. One afternoon I found them in the basement, stacked up neat and labeled, tucked away out of sight. I stood there just looking at them. Amber came downstairs and found me standing there. Oh, I hope that's okay. What is the decorations? I glanced around. Why'd you move them? They were making the house feel cluttered. The house, not your house. Not Eugene's house, just the house. Funny what a single word can say. I nodded and let it go. Again. That was my pattern. Releasing things because conflict burns energy. And at 67, energy is a currency you guard carefully. Besides, I kept telling myself she wasn't doing it out of cruelty. She was young, stretched thin, anxious about money, trying to build something. I believed that most of the time, and I meant it. The truth is, Amber wasn't some kind of storybook villain. She wasn't mapping out ways to make my life miserable. She had real qualities. She worked hard. She paid what she owed on time. When snow came, she helped the neighbors dig out. She'd bring soup to people who were sick. But a person doesn't have to be wicked to do you harm. Sometimes they just gradually stop registering that you're there. And that's exactly what unfolded. Bit by bit, I went from being a person to being an inconvenience. Come June, another shift started showing itself. Cody was pulling away, not in any physical sense, emotionally. Every time Amber wanted something, Cody found his way to her side. Every disagreement landed in the same place. Dad, it's not a big deal. Dad, just let it go. Dad, she's stressed. I heard some version of those words more times than I can count. One evening I found myself sitting alone in the garage after the others had gone inside. The air in there smelled of motor oil and sawdust. For a stretch, I just stared at an old bicycle mounted on the wall. Cody's first bike, blue frame, training wheels long gone. Out of nowhere, the memory of teaching him to ride it came back to me, running behind him down the block, shirt soaked through with sweat. Trying not to show how scared I was, he'd go down hard. The memory landed heavier than I was ready for, because that little boy would have stood up for me. He'd have marched right into any room and told whoever was giving his father trouble to cut it out. I missed that kid, more than I'd let myself realize. The next warning sign came from a neighbor of mine, Mrs. Pickett. She'd lived across the street for nearly 30 years. Known Lorraine since the Reagan administration. One afternoon, she caught me at the mailbox. How's retirement treating you? Can't complain. She paused, then gave me an awkward smile. I ran into your daughter-in-law at Meyer. Yeah. She mentioned you were living with them now. I stopped. What? Mrs. Pickett looked immediately uncomfortable. Oh, maybe I got it wrong. But she hadn't. I was sure of it. Because 2 days after that, I heard Amber saying almost the same thing to someone on the phone. I wasn't trying to listen. She was in the kitchen. I was passing through. That's all there was to it. Yeah, we're helping him out for now. Helping him out. I nearly laughed out loud. The mortgage had been paid off before she ever got her high school diploma. The property taxes came out of my account. The homeowner's insurance came out of my account. The roof over her head existed because I'd ground through 4 decades of Indiana summers and winters. She was helping me out. I kept walking, didn't say a word. Then came the one conversation I couldn't get out of my head, the one that stuck. One evening I came downstairs for a glass of water. Amber was on the phone with a friend on speakerphone. She had no idea I could hear her. He can't live alone forever. A beat of silence. Then honestly, assisted living might be better eventually. Not angry, not cutting. Just matter of fact, like she was talking about trimming the hedges. What bothered me wasn't the thing she said. It was the ease with which she said it. Like my future had quietly become a logistics problem. Like I wasn't party to the discussion. That night sleep barely touched me. I lay there staring up at the ceiling, turning things over, questioning, poking at myself. Maybe she had a point. Maybe I was slowing down. Maybe I was the difficult one. Maybe I was blowing this out of proportion. That's the strange thing about being worn down gradually. When it happens slowly enough, you start losing trust in your own read on things. Then something happened that wiped out every last shred of doubt. 3 days before the football game, I was scrolling through Facebook. The usual parade, grandkids, fishing trips, people bickering about politics. Nothing unusual. Then a listing caught my eye on Facebook Marketplace. An antique porcelain lamp, hand-painted, blue flowers. I knew at the moment I saw it. Lorraine's lamp, the one her mother had passed down to her. It had sat in our guest room for 20 years. My stomach dropped. I clicked on the listing. The seller's name was Amber. I sat there staring at the screen. Then I found another item, and another after that. A decorative mirror, an antique sewing box, a vintage side table. All Lorraine's, all up for sale. Without a word to me, without so much as a question, without permission. For the first time, I wasn't hurting. I was furious. And that fury rode with me all the way to the following Sunday. The game, the remote, the living room, the moment the whole thing broke open. Because by that point, I'd already been asking myself whether that house still felt like mine. What came next answered it completely. The morning after the football game, I wasn't acting on a whim. That's the part people tend to get wrong when they hear this. They picture a bitter old man doing something reckless. That wasn't what was happening. The truth is, by the time I called Hoosier Hall, movers, I'd been turning things over in my mind for weeks, and for the first time in a long while, I was choosing to act instead of absorb. The crew showed up at 9:30 on the dot. 3 guys. Green shirts, white truck. One of them looked young enough to be my grandson. The crew leader came over and introduced himself as Denny. Solid guy. Firm handshake. All business. You, Eugene? That's me. He glanced toward the house. What are we moving today? I looked at the front porch for a moment, then back at the truck. My life, he laughed. I didn't. A beat later, it registered that I wasn't joking. The laugh dropped away. Well, he said quieter now. Let's make sure we treat it right. I appreciated that more than I showed. By then, Cody and Amber had already headed off to work. The house sat quiet the way it used to before they'd moved in, except now the quiet had a different quality, like it was holding its breath. The crew started with the straightforward things. Boxes, photos, personal records, everything from my home office. I pitched in where I could, which wasn't much. My back had other opinions. So did my shoulders. Every trip on the stairs made that clear. At one point, Denny spotted me trying to muscle a heavy box. He stepped in and took it. I got it. I can still manage. I'm sure you can. He gave me a half grin. But today you're paying me. Fair enough. Around 10:30, they got to the living room. My recliner sat near the front window. Not exactly where it used to belong, but close. I'd put in thousands of hours in that chair. Football games. Christmas mornings, long talks with Lorraine, late movies. The slow weeks after my knee surgery. That chair knew more about my life than most people did. Denny pointed at it, taking this absolutely. The younger guy smiled. Looks like it's seen some miles. It'd better be comfortable for what I paid. As they carried it out the door, something came over me that I hadn't expected. Relief, not grief, not bitterness. Relief, like I was pulling pieces of myself back from somewhere they shouldn't have been. The next item was harder. A lot harder. Lorraine's cedar chest. The crew found it at the foot of our old bed, where it had rested for decades. Inside were things that wouldn't mean anything to a stranger. Old letters, family photographs, birthday cards, ticket stubs, recipes, the small scraps of a life lived together. The kind of things you hold on to, not because they're worth money, but because they matter. I walked over and set my hand flat on the lid. The wood was smooth under my palm. Lorraine used to polish it every spring. I could almost catch the scent of lemon oil. For a moment, the movers weren't there. Nothing was. Just me, and 40 years folded into a wooden chest. Sir! Denny's voice pulled me back. You doing okay? I swallowed, gave a nod. Yeah, I wasn't. But I would be. In time. Let's take it. They moved the chest outside with care. I walked behind them, slowly. The sun was warm when I stepped out onto the porch. The truck door swung shut, and standing there, my eyes finally went wet. Not from losing something, from protecting it. There's a distinction. Most people don't feel the difference until they've got some years on them. Around noon, I sat on the porch steps with a sandwich from Subway. Ham. No mustard. Doctor's orders. The crew was clearing out the garage. Tools storage cabinets my workbench. The old one Cody and I had built together 20 years back. I sat and watched them take it apart piece by piece. That one stung. not for the wood, for what was wrapped up in it. I remembered Cody at 17, hammer in hand, missing half the nails, cracking up every time he botched it. Those were the days he still wanted to be around me. Funny how things change. My phone rang. Attorney Paulette Haver. I picked up right away. Hello? How's the move going? Expensive, she laughed. That's moving. Paulette had been handling my legal affairs since Lorraine got sick. Sharp woman. Direct. The kind of attorney who speaks in plain words instead of burying you in fine print. What did you find out? I asked. A short pause. Then her tone shifted. I spoke with the contractor this morning. My gut clenched. And he remembered meeting Amber. I sat up. When about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks, before the football game, before the remote, before everything. What was the meeting about? Another pause. Then Paulette answered, home renovation plans. I fixed my eyes on the yard. The maple tree, the fence, the deck. Everything went very still around me. What kind of renovation? The contractor says she wanted estimates. Estimates for what? My hand tightened around the phone. Paulette let out a quiet breath. Converting your bedroom. I said nothing. Several seconds passed. Into what? A nursery. The words hit harder than they should have. Not because of the room, because of what it told me. I wasn't gone. I wasn't in a facility somewhere. I wasn't dead. I was right there in that house. But she'd already begun drawing up a version of it with no place for me in it. What I'm about to share next is the moment everything stopped being something I could explain away. The weight of what someone close to me had really been doing right under my roof was about to become impossible to ignore. Before we get there, tell me honestly if you sensed that someone you loved was slowly working against you. Would you speak up right away, or would you wait until you had no doubt left? The contractor apparently assumed everyone was on the same page. He figured she was talking about future possibilities. Maybe she was, maybe not. Either way, the message came through loud and clear. She pictured herself there, long-term, permanently. Paulette kept going. Eugene, I'm here. You doing okay? I looked toward the house, toward that bedroom window, the room Lorraine and I had shared for nearly 40 years. The room where we'd lain awake talking after Cody was born. The room where she held my hand through chemotherapy. The room where she drew her last breath. And somebody was already sizing it up for new paint colors. No, I said. I'm not. Neither of us filled the silence for a moment. Then Paulette said the thing that mattered. Eugene, yeah, you are not overreacting. I shut my eyes, because part of me had gone on wondering. Part of me had kept reaching for the idea that I was imagining things, that maybe the years were making me thin-skinned. Maybe the loneliness was warping my perspective. Maybe I was the one being unreasonable. Paulette put an end to all of that with a single sentence. They've already started building a future with no room for you in it. The crew wrapped up around 3's outros. The truck was close to full. My things would sit in storage for a few days before going to a furnished rental Paulette had helped me track down. Nothing permanent, just a place to land for now. I walked the house one last time. The rooms looked altered, emptier, stripped back, barely familiar. Where family photos had lined the walls, pale rectangles remained on the paint. The living room felt hollow. The bedroom gave off a faint echo. Something became clear to me standing there. The movers hadn't cleared the house out. They'd revealed it, shown what was mine, and what wasn't. As I pulled the front door shut behind me, my phone buzzed. A text from Cody, 3 words only. Everything okay? I looked at the screen, slipped the phone back into my pocket without typing a word, because in a matter of hours he'd walk in and see that nothing was okay, and the house he'd taken for granted would show it. I was sitting at Gus Ferreira's kitchen table when Cody and Amber got home. I know the exact moment because I checked the clock when the phone started going. 5:43 p.m. Gus had just set a bowl of beef stew in front of me. Nothing fancy. Carrots, potatoes, chunks of bread on the side. The kind of meal that quietly puts you back together. You going to eat? Gus asked. My eyes were on the phone. Cody calling. Then again. I flipped it face down. Nope. Gus nodded. Good. We'd known each other going on 30 years. Long enough that neither of us burned words where silence would do. The phone went again and again. Then Gus let out a low laugh. Sounds like somebody just walked through the door. I felt a small smile come and go. Mostly go. because whatever I felt on the surface underneath my stomach was a mess of knots. That's the part nobody warns you about when you finally decide to stand your ground. It doesn't feel like power. More often, it feels rotten. You sit at a friend's table wondering if you've just burned the last bridge to your own son. I picked up my spoon. The stew smelled right, but I'd lost whatever appetite I'd had. The calls kept coming. By 6 jerk, I'd missed 11 of them. By 6:30, the count had climbed to 17. When the voicemail alert showed up, I listened. Dad. Cody sounded baffled, not angry. Baffled. What's going on? A pause. Dad, call me. Another beat. Where are all your things? I erased the message, not out of coldness. There was simply nothing to say yet. A few minutes on a second voicemail landed. This one was Amber. Her voice was wound tighter, more charged. Eugene, where did everything go? I noticed she didn't say Dad. She never really had. Please call us. Then the line went dead. By 7:00, the missed calls had stacked up to 23. 23. Something almost funny about that. For months, I'd shared a roof with those two and could barely get a word in. Now suddenly, I was the most important person anyone wanted to reach. Gus slid a basket of bread across the table toward me. Eat. I'm trying. No, you're worrying. That got a real laugh out of me. You were always a terrible listener. And you were always a terrible liar. That one landed harder. Laughed more than I meant to. For the first time that day, the knot in my chest loosened a little. Then my phone rang again. Cody. I picked up. Hello. The line sat quiet for nearly 3 seconds. Dad. Yeah. Where are you? With Gus. Another pause. What happened? I leaned back in the chair. The kitchen smelled of stew and coffee. The evening light was fading through the window. What do you mean, all your stuff is gone? I know. Dad. His voice caught a little. What is this? I glanced at Gus. He pretended to mind his own business. Badly. I moved my belongings. Why? The question stopped me cold. Not because he asked it, because he genuinely sounded like he didn't know the answer. As if that Sunday afternoon had never happened. As if the previous 8 months had simply been erased. I picked my words carefully. Cody. Yeah. Do you remember the football game? Silence. A long stretch of it. Dad. Do you remember it? Yes? Good. That was enough. I left it there. Another long quiet followed. Then he said softly, I should have said something. That caught me off guard, not the admission itself. The fact that it felt like the first genuinely honest thing he'd offered me in a very long time. I closed my eyes. Part of me was ready to let it all go right then. Part of me wanted to tell him we were fine. Part of me wanted my son back. But wanting something doesn't make it true. We'll talk later. And I hung up. The phone went quiet for nearly 20 minutes. Then a call came in from someone unexpected. Not Cody. Not Amber. Mrs. Pickett. I answered. Hello. She sounded like she was trying not to laugh. Well, what? You seem to have set off quite a commotion. A smile found me. Word travels fast. What actually happened? Her laugh came out then. Your daughter-in-law posted about it online. I pressed my fingers to my forehead. Of course she did. Want to hear what she wrote? Mrs. Pickett made a small theatrical sound. My father-in-law suddenly abandoned the family home and removed everything without warning. I couldn't hold back a laugh. Even Gus perked up at that. That's one way to tell it. Apparently so. What happened after Mrs. Pickett's real laugh came through now? The comments happened. That got my attention. Comments. Eugene, half this neighborhood watched you build that place. I leaned back in my chair. What were people saying? She started reading them off. One neighbor reminded everyone I'd been in that house since the late 80s. Another shared photos from a block party a decade back. Someone else put up pictures of me rebuilding the deck after a storm. The more comments piled on, the worse Amber's version of events looked. Nobody was going after her directly. That wasn't the point. The point was that everyone already had the real story in their heads. 35 years of living somewhere doesn't disappear because of a single Facebook post. Mrs. Pickett let out a long breath eventually. People remember Eugene. Remember what? The work? The house? Lorraine. I looked down at the tabletop. Her name still hit me the same way it always had. You and Lorraine were woven into this neighborhood long before any of this started. I couldn't answer for a second, because she was right. Some things sit beyond what any deed or document can capture. History, reputation. The neighbors who watched the years go by. Those things don't move? When we hung up, Gus filled 2 mugs with coffee, the old-fashioned kind, strong enough to strip paint. We sat without talking for a while. Then he asked quietly, "You okay?" I thought about lying. Didn't. No. He nodded. Good. Good, it means you're still human. That was Gus. Never one for sentiment. Never one for drama. Just straight. The next morning I woke up on the pull-out couch in his den. My back had opinions. My knees had opinions. My neck joined in with its own. Getting older is basically a round robin of body parts competing to complain the loudest. I made my way toward the kitchen. Coffee was already going. Gus had been up an hour ahead of me. Retired men treat mornings like something to be won. I was pouring my first cup when my phone buzzed. Voicemail, Cody again. But this one was different. Not baffled. Not defensive. Scared. Dad. A long pause opened up. Then I think I made a terrible mistake. I listened through all of it. His breathing came out uneven, like he'd been wearing a path in the floor. Amber met with a contractor. I went still. What the message kept going. There are emails. Another pause. Then Dad? I didn't know. I sat there holding the phone, slowly lowered myself into the chair. The kitchen had gone very quiet around me, because now Cody had seen it too. The thing I'd been watching unfold for months. A future being drawn up without me in it. And for the first time, he couldn't look the other way. I played the message again, then once more. Gus glanced over. Bad news. I shook my head. No, he raised an eyebrow. Sounds like bad news? I took a long sip of coffee, looked out toward the window. The sun was coming up over Plainfield, clear and bright. Something inside me shifted in a way it hadn't in a long time. Not victory, not revenge. Something quieter than either of those. The truth. And once people start seeing the truth for what it is, everything that follows is different. 2 days on, I agreed to sit down with them. Not because I felt ready, because running out the clock on the conversation wasn't an answer. Cody had left several more messages by then. Each one sounded further from where the last one started. Less guarded, more real. Amber, on the other hand, had gone completely silent. That bothered me. People go quiet for one of 2 reasons: they're thinking, or they're losing their grip on the narrative. The meeting took place at Mrs. Pickett's house on a Thursday evening. That wasn't by accident. I had no interest in a lawyer's conference room, no interest in a restaurant, and absolutely no interest in my own house. Mrs. Pickett's felt neutral, safe. Lorraine had spent whole afternoons in that living room drinking coffee and talking about people who had it coming. If any place could hold a hard conversation without letting it turn into a spectacle, it was there. The group was small, 7 people altogether. Mrs. Pickett, her husband Stu, my attorney Paulette, Cody, Amber, me. And Gus, mainly because he flat out refused to let me go in there alone. I'll stay quiet, he promised. That lasted maybe 15 minutes. We were all seated in the living room when Paulette opened a folder. Nobody looked at ease. Cody least of all. He looked worn out, like sleep had been avoiding him. Amber looked different than I expected. Not defiant, not composed, nervous. For the first time since she'd set foot in my house, she looked like she didn't know where she stood. Mrs. Pickett broke the stillness. Can I get anyone coffee before we begin? Silence. Wonderful, she said. Off to a brilliant start. Even Paulette cracked a smile. The tension dropped a notch. Then Paulette got down to it. Eugene asked me to go over some concerns relating to the property. Amber crossed her arms. Cody kept his eyes on the floor. Paulette pressed on. Ownership isn't the question here. She set a hand on the folder. That's straightforward. Nobody's disputing it. The deed was in my name. The taxes came from my account. The homeowner's insurance came from my account. That wasn't where the problem lived. Everything else was. Paulette laid out a set of documents. Emails. Contractor estimates. Notes from consultations. Nothing illegal. Nothing that would hold up as criminal. But more than enough to tell a story. A deeply uncomfortable one. One contractor had sketched out a rough conversion plan for my bedroom. Another had talked about pulling out the built-in shelving in my home office. A third had been asked to price expanding the master suite. The through line wasn't hard to see. Every single plan assumed you were no longer going to be living there. The room went still. Amber stared at the paperwork in front of her. Cody looked like he might be sick. He turned to her. You actually did this? His voice came out small. She didn't respond right away. Cody, no. He shook his head slowly. You told me those were just ideas you were tossing around. They were ideas. You never once mentioned they involved my dad's room. The conversation was heading exactly where it needed to, not toward a blow-up, toward the truth. Amber looked at me for the first time that evening. Then she looked away, and I noticed something in that moment. For months, I'd seen her as the one who set all of this in motion. Maybe she had, in part. But seated across from me now, she looked less like someone with a plan and more like someone who had simply stopped seeing things clearly. That doesn't make it okay, but it does make it human. Eventually, Paulette closed the folder. I think what's in front of you says everything that needs saying. No one pushed back. The quiet stretched out. Then Amber did something that surprised the room. Especially me. She started crying. Not the showy kind, not the performance people put on when they're working an audience. Something real. Quiet, embarrassed, worn down. I was scared. No one filled the space. So she kept going. We were barely keeping up with rent. She wiped at her face. I kept running through what would happen if Cody lost more hours. Another pause. I kept thinking we'd never own anything. Something settled into place for me right then. What she'd done hadn't grown out of greed. It had grown out of fear. Fear just has a way of turning into something uglier if nobody catches it. I wasn't trying to hurt you, she said. I looked at her. Then what were you trying to do? That landed harder than any accusation would have, because she didn't have an answer ready. After a moment, she whispered, I don't know. And I believed her. Not all the way, but enough. Mrs. Pickett leaned forward. Amber, the younger woman looked up. Do you know why Lorraine loved Eugene? The question dropped into the room from nowhere. Amber blinked. No, Mrs. Pickett's smile carried a quiet sadness. Because he spent his whole life putting other people first. Nobody moved. He took care of Lorraine. She nodded toward Cody. He took care of that boy. Then she looked at me. The problem is someone who spends their life caring for everyone else eventually gets treated like they'll never need anything in return. Nobody interrupted. Nobody had to. The truth was already present in the room with us. Then came the moment I'd been carrying around all week. I reached into my jacket pocket and took out an old photograph. The edges were soft with age, the colors worn, but the image was still plain to see. I passed it to Cody. His face changed immediately. Oh, wow. The picture had been snapped in 1988, the year we bought the house. The garage wasn't finished yet. The siding was still incomplete. The front yard was mostly bare dirt. Lorraine stood smiling next to a ladder. 8-year-old Cody held a paintbrush, nearly as tall as he was, and I stood between them looking roughly 20 years younger, and 30 they'll be lighter. Everyone in the room studied that photo. Nobody spoke. Then I said what I'd come there to say. You know what scared me the most? Cody looked up. I tapped the edge of the photograph. It wasn't losing the house. The words came out measured, unhurried. It was losing my son. Cody dropped his gaze. I could see it reach him. Because somewhere underneath all of it, he already knew. For months he'd been sidestepping conflict, trying to hold everything together, keeping himself right in the middle. The trouble with that position is it always costs somebody something. This time that somebody had been me. A few seconds passed. Then Cody did something I hadn't seen coming. He got up, crossed the room, and put his arms around me, the way he used to when he was young. Hard, without any hesitation. Hey, Dad. His voice broke apart on it. I'm sorry. I closed my eyes. Not because it was over, because it wasn't. Not even close. But for the first time in far too long, my son sounded like my son again. When he sat back down, I looked at the two of them. Then I said as steadily as I could manage, You need to find somewhere else to live. Neither one argued. Neither one pushed back. I'll give you 60 days. Cody nodded. Amber nodded too. Her face held sadness, and underneath it something that looked like relief. Maybe because keeping up the pretense had finally become more exhausting than facing what was true. As the meeting broke up, people slowly rose. Coffee cups were gathered, papers went back into folders. The crisis that had been building for months was out in the open at last. Not catastrophic, just necessary. Walking out of Mrs. Pickett's house that evening, something became clear to me. What I felt wasn't revenge. It was relief. 3 months on, I was in my recliner watching a Browns preseason game when something odd occurred to me. The house had gone quiet again. Not empty, just quiet. And there's a real difference between those two things. When Lorraine first passed, the silence had felt like an open wound. Every room held something of what was gone: the kitchen table, the hallway, the bedroom, even the laundry room. Every corner carried its own weight. Back then, quiet felt like being alone. Now it felt like peace. Not every day, not every hour, but most of them. And at 67, peace starts to matter more than noise. The 60 days I'd handed Cody and Amber had run their course. To their credit, they didn't fight it. They found a rental on the east side of Greenwood, a small place. Nothing much, but it was theirs. The move itself came off without drama. No shouting, no ultimatums, no last-minute standoffs. Just boxes, furniture, a moving truck, and people accepting what had to happen. Honestly, that caught me off guard. I'd spent weeks bracing for another round. Instead, something different showed up. Reality had finally caught up with all of us. The day they moved out, Cody hung back after the truck was loaded. The driveway was almost empty. He stood next to his pickup, looking uncertain. Dad? Yeah. I don't know how to fix this. I leaned back against the garage wall. Neither did I. Maybe you don't. He frowned. What does that mean? It means some things don't get fixed. That was hard to say because it was true. Trust doesn't come back just because enough time passes. Respect doesn't reappear on command. Relationships don't mend from a single apology. Healing asks for time, and time won't be pushed. Cody nodded slowly. Then he surprised me. Again. I'll keep trying. I looked at him. Really looked. For the first time in months, he wasn't deflecting responsibility. He wasn't pointing at Amber. He wasn't reaching for an excuse. He was just telling me the truth. And that's the only place healing ever actually starts. After he drove off, I stood in the driveway by myself. The house behind me felt somehow larger. The air felt different. Then I went inside and found something I hadn't expected. I hated it. The quiet. The rooms with nothing in them. No footsteps overhead. No movement anywhere. The first few weeks I second-guessed everything. Had I pushed too far? Had I been too rigid? Was being right worth sitting alone in it? Those questions showed up mostly at night, around 2 more in the morning usually, when the house settled and made its noises, when the refrigerator cycled on, when there was nobody else in the building. Those were the moments that cut. Not the confrontation, not the trucks pulling out, not the arguments, the afterward. Gus helped more than he knew. He pulled me out of that house whenever he could. Breakfast at a diner, fishing a run to the hardware store. One Thursday he showed up with a preposterous suggestion. You need a hobby. I have hobbies. You have television. Football is a hobby. No, he pointed at me. Football is avoidance. I hated how often he was right. A week later, he talked me into volunteering at a community workshop nearby. Mostly retired men helping fix furniture for families who couldn't afford to replace it. Nothing glamorous, just honest practical work. Tables, shelves, chairs. The first day I nearly turned around. The second day I stayed 3 hours. By the third week I was actually looking forward to it. Funny how purpose finds its way back in when you've stopped watching for it. Meanwhile, Cody kept showing up. Not constantly, not excessively, just consistently. Sometimes we'd grab lunch. Sometimes we'd chip away at small projects together. Sometimes we'd sit out on the porch with coffee and barely say a word. Those quiet visits, oddly enough, meant more than any long apology ever could have. One Saturday morning, he showed up with a toolbox. That kitchen faucet still giving you trouble? I smiled. Maybe. Let's take a look. For the next 2 hours, we worked side by side the way we used to. Not saying much, just working the way fathers and sons often do. At one point, he crawled under the sink and I handed him a wrench. A minute later, he said, Dad, can you pass me the channel locks? Simple words, nothing remarkable, except they felt remarkable, because they sounded normal, natural. Like the years before all the tension crept in. The years before everyone started tiptoeing around each other. The years when we were just father and son. Later that afternoon, while we were cleaning up, Cody hesitated. Then he asked, Do you think Amber is a bad person? The question caught me off guard. I turned it over carefully, long enough that he understood I wasn't brushing it aside. Finally, I shook my head. No, really hot. No. I sat down on the workbench. I think she got scared. Cody listened without a word. I think fear turned into entitlement. I shrugged. And I think entitlement turned into disrespect. He nodded slowly. That's fair. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. But it was honest. As for Amber, I only caught bits and pieces after that. Apparently, she and Cody were taking some time apart, not officially divorced, not officially together, just trying to find their footing. I didn't celebrate that. There was nothing to feel good about. Families are complicated, people make mistakes, sometimes big ones. The goal was never to tear anyone down. The goal was simply to stop letting myself disappear. One Sunday afternoon in early fall, I found myself back in the living room, same house, same football team breaking my heart. Some things never change. The Colts were losing, naturally. I reached for the remote sitting beside my chair and laughed, because there was a strip of masking tape across the back. Written in black marker were two simple words: Eugene's remote. Gus had done it as a joke a few weeks earlier. I'd left it right there. Every time I noticed it, I smiled. Not because of the remote, because of what it stood for. A boundary. A small one. A silly one. But a boundary all the same. I looked around the room. Lorraine's photograph sat above the fireplace. The cedar chest was back where it belonged. My chair rested near the window. Sunlight lay across the hardwood floor, and for the first time in years I felt completely at home. Not because no one would ever hurt me again. Life doesn't work that way. Not because every relationship had been mended. Some scars remain. And that's where the story lands. Not with a courtroom, not with raised voices. Just a quiet room, a cedar chest back where it belongs, and sunlight crossing the floor the way it used to. I won't pretend it didn't cost me. It cost me sleep. It cost me months of wondering if I'd pushed my son away for good. I believe God has a way of returning things to you that were rightfully yours. Not always on your timeline, and rarely in the way you expected, but they come back. What I learned is that letting people take from you slowly, piece by piece, doesn't make you generous. It makes you invisible. And invisible is no way to spend whatever years you have left. If this story taught me anything worth passing on, here it is. First, your home is not just a building. Guard what it holds, especially the things that can't be replaced. Second, when a child stops seeing you as a person and starts seeing you as an obstacle, the kindest thing you can do is make the stakes clear. Love without boundaries isn't love, it's permission. Third, document everything. A quiet paper trail speaks louder than any argument ever could. Fourth, forgiving someone doesn't mean handing them back the power they misused. You can love people and still require better from them. If any part of Eugene's story moved, you leave a comment below. I read everyone. If you know someone carrying something heavy right now, share this with them. And if you haven't yet subscribed to True Revenge Stories, so the next one finds you when you need it most. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Take care of yourself out there. I'll talk to you soon.